All right, guys, so we're going to start by going in and detangling using our 427 paddle brush. Then we're playing with our Invisible Wear Pump Me Up texture powder. So this is going to go in right at the root, spread it out throughout your hair to give it some nice prep texture for this style. So I like to go ahead sometimes and just pre-section out what I'm going to do. So as I work my way up the head, I can just drop sections down. So top and then around the ears, that can be our middle section, and then we'll start with that bottom. So always using our Neuro Protect on dry hair generously before using any hot tools. Split that in half, and then our wand, I put it at 320. You don't want your hair to be super hot while being shaped for this, especially when you're working with like a beach wave. If it's too hot and it gives it too much shape, then it's gonna look a little too perfect. So I like to err on the side of a little bit lower, so that way it's not curving the shape of the hair strand so much and you get a little bit more of a wave. So I'm just going through and alternating different directions that I'm working through. When I do more of a beachy wave, I tend to go a little skinnier in my sections than I would with just standard like curly or, volume kind of base looks. So see, I'm just splitting that in half and then clipping away what I'm not working with. So when you go with those little bit of those skinnier strands, I feel like you get just more of a piecey texture. So we also want to alternate the different sizes of sections we're doing so it looks a little bit more free-flowing and organic. And then obviously the direction we're going to go in is going to alternate back and forth. So that way the curl does not marry together and create one big swoop. That's for a totally different look that we can do in another tutorial. So just working on each side, this prevents you from having to try to blindly work your way through the back, just pulling it to each side of your head and accomplishing each section. And then going away from the face when we're right around that hairline. So that way it just blends in nicely with the rest of your hair and is not covering your face area. So detangling that top, using each section, we're gonna use that clip to isolate the sections we're not playing with so that way it doesn't blend in with the rest of your previously done curls. I like to use that teasing brush on the very top sections just to give a little more volume. Because I have really fine hair, it tends to flatten easily if I don't do things like this. So especially if I'm putting curl into my hair, it can get really expanded and big at the bottom and then lay flat at the top, which ends up looking really sexy like a pyramid. So instead, I just go ahead and tease that area before curling, so I'm not disturbing the section after working that wand through. And then afterward, my shape overall is a little more balanced from top to bottom. So I'm just working through different size sections, little strips. Some pieces I'm twisting and wrapping around the rod. Some I'm just kind of doing that traditional, wrapping it like a ribbon. Even though we're going for more of a tousled sort of messy vibe, you still want your foundation to have some sort of polish and organization to it so it doesn't look frizzy. And then we're just gonna go through, look at those roots, looking good. Taking those different pieces, alternating, and you'll notice my ends, I'm leaving out at least an inch or two in some sections, and that length that I'm leaving out varies, but not having that end so beveled will also help create more of a beachy wave versus a curly look. So if you have bangs like me, just try to get a little texture in there so it kind of makes sense with the rest of the look. Now we want to let these cool completely. You can read a book, you can call a friend, you can be productive and fold some laundry. You can practice your finger guns, swipe on Tinder, whatever your heart desires. Once it's cooled, we're gonna go in with that Undone Texture hairspray. I love this because it's super flexible, it's really airy, and it's gonna keep your hair shiny and soft, but just enhance that texture. So just play around with that until you get it kind of exactly how you want it. Just make sure you kind of break up all those sections. And here is your end result.